All right. Well, it's 12:05, so we're going to go ahead and get underway. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out to Bethesda and joining us for the winter meeting. I think that it was a positive thing to have a session where we gave everyone a chance to talk about what they would like to see the cluster doing in the next year. Kaylin and I intend to use that feedback to help drive not only the sessions that we'll present in the first half of the year, but also I think that it would be a good idea for us to consider a session at the summer meeting that will be reporting back on what we have done in the first half of the year, and also setting some goals for the second half of the year in the winter meeting. So I'd like to hear from anyone else if they think that would be a positive contribution.
Can you repeat the question?
Well, I think that if we can set some goals for the first half of the year, and then report back on them at the summer session, see how well we did on those, and set some more for the winter and for the second half of the year. I think it'll help keep us on track and moving forward.
What goals do you think we should set?
Well, I think that we went over those in the winter session on Wednesday. We had talked about doing work on ISO Explorer and updating some ACDD resources. I believe additionally crosswalk to ISO 1 was mentioned. I think there were a couple of others that I'm not thinking of right now.
Okay.
But I know that there were notes taken from that.
Yeah, Sean, this is Ed Armstrong here. Sorry I wasn't able to attend the winter meeting, but I think that's sounds like some reasonable goals you're setting out there. And I think one of them we also talked about at the end of last year was that we wanted to kind of review the ACD to improve on the representation of spatial information in the attributes.
Yeah, and we'd definitely like to talk about that today. Unfortunately, Mary Jo isn't able to join, but I will go ahead and she was just going to give a little bit of a presentation on. She was going to set up the discussion. So it was just like a short introduction to here's my problem. Do you guys have some solutions? So I'll just go ahead and read that to start off the conversation. If no one has anything about to add about the winter session, then we can just go ahead and get underway. So Mary Jo Brosnick at NSIDC is producing a gridded data set using the CF 1.6 conventions. In a given file, the data are projected onto one of three possible projections: northern or southern Lambert azimuthal equal area or cylindrical equal area. With each data variable in the file, I do not include the grid mapping attribute, and I am populating my grid mapping variable with the required projection information as listed in the CF conventions. Also in a given file, the spatial resolution will be one of 25, 12.5, 6.25, or 3.125 kilometers. And although this is obvious from the X and Y dimension variable values, I am looking for a place to include the spatial resolution for a human who is reading the metadata. I assume an attribute in the grid mapping variable would be the place for this. At first, I thought it was one of the scale factor attributes, e.g. scale factor at projection origin, but for CEA, this would be a misnomer since the value is the scale at true latitude, not the projection origin at all. Also, the convention says to include either standard parallel or scale factor at projection origin. So now I'm beginning to think these scale factor attributes are not the correct place at all for this information. I see in the NCEI template file for gridded data that they recommend global attributes like geospatial lat resolution and geospatial LAN resolution with a string value of 0.1 degree or 100 meters, which is almost what I am looking for. But of course, since I have projected data, it would not be latitude or longitude. Can anyone recommend a best practice for my projected data case that I can follow? So this was the initial question that Mary Jo had asked. And so I'm giving this to the group to see if there are any solutions that we could offer her.
That's a lot of detail.
Hey, Sean, can you scroll down and show us why she says the geospatial lat resolution can't hold that info?
I think it's just because it's projected data.
Well, I think the first thing, I mean, this is kind of like a case with projected data where the resolution is inherently changing based on the type of projection you choose, right? So you have to define, maybe for one thing you have to define some resolution that's say at the equator or something, or some latitude band at a minimum, I believe. So there is really nothing I'm really aware of in ACD or CF that really kind of meets this use case. So I do agree that the geospatial lat resolution, the geospatial LAN resolution, those ACD global attributes are really only germane to very strictly gridded level 3, level 4 data, where the step size remains constant between adjacent pixels. So in some ways, what she's asking for is germane to also representing satellite swath data, or level 2 or level 1 data, describing the resolution of those types of data products. Because again, even those are certainly not projected at all, but the resolution is changing as you go across the swath, of course, due to changing satellite geometries due to Earth curvature. So there is really nothing that I think we can recommend that will fix your problem right now. And I think, I guess maybe this group can kind of look at what new attributes could be proposed to meet these types of use cases. Does anybody maybe have any suggestions, like minimum a cross track or a long track resolution or things of that nature, or there has to be maybe some kind of like minimum resolution field that would be kind of like the first step for somebody, for a person like this to assign a value to. I know, Bob Simon, you deal with the satellite products all the time, and what are your thoughts about representing satellite geometries with better CF or ACD metadata attributes? All right, everybody's silent.
Well,
This is AJ here. We're not necessarily talking about SWOT data types here, right? It's just a case of a projected grid.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm kind of like mixing things up here a little bit. I think there's some commonality in the use cases, maybe some little bit of overlap, maybe perhaps. Well, I mean, they're independent, yeah. So if we want to just talk about Mary Jo's use case, certainly we can start with that.
Right. Yeah. In regards to this specific use case, I believe NCI was also in the process of creating a template along the lines of a gridded data for the projected grid, and I don't see why we couldn't include like a X resolution versus a Y resolution global attribute field. I don't know what everyone else thinks about that, though. I mean, as Mary Jo says, it's kind of evident from the variable, but then it might not hurt having this information in the global attributes as well.
So AJ, that template you referred to, can you off the top of your head, do you know how, if there's any attributes in there to represent spatial resolution right now?
No, it's just a working copy. I don't think there's a way to. Yeah, we don't have anything as far as I can remember. But Phil, I think is on the call, might be able to confirm that information. So I don't see him responding, but yeah, I don't think we have a new attribute per se. We were just trying to stick to ACDD and CF, so try not to introduce new attributes. But if the group thinks it's appropriate, we could. I don't see why we can't have one of these attributes kind of the next release of ACDD and.
So what do you think that attribute should be called? I mean,
gridded resolution?
Well, no, I want to stay away from the
word grid.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why geospatial lat resolution and geospatial lon resolution don't really work very well for these cases. I forget what I proposed at the end of last year. I think it was something like geospatial underscore X resolution or geospatial underscore Y resolution.
Yeah, I thought we had
cross track, along track. I was thinking just specifically like satellite information. Maybe we can, I don't know, something like minimum underscore X resolution or minimum underscore Y resolution.
Right, and this would also be. I mean, we're also gonna have to introduce a geospatial X-min and an X-max and a Y-min and a Y-max if we're talking about resolution.
Oh, okay, X-min. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, sure, sure. Yeah. So just to kind of cover the range of potential resolution.
Right, right.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we would have a geo. Yep.
Or could we just evolve the definition of our current lat long to be this is also the same as x and y? Can we expand, because it's just the label is the longitude and latitude is what's causing in the label is what's causing this problem. And so if we
Yeah, but
expanded this to be like, well, the latitude also is the same as the x grid space.
I wouldn't recommend that because latitude and longitude has very specific definitions of what they are, and that's what we'd be kind of bending.
Yeah, we would be bending that.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend. I think we get a lot of pushback if we were to go that route.
Okay.
So, Sean, I remember last time we kind of talked about this, that we were going to get some of the, I guess, ACD principals to participate in these discussions. I mean, do we have anybody like that on the line, besides, I guess, besides yourself? And I'm just kind of looking at the list of participants here. I've kind of lost a little track about kind of like the governance community of ACDD. But I think those folks definitely would need to be part of these discussions, right?
Right. I don't think that we're going to be solving anything today, but coming up with some good ideas and maybe getting them down to present to the governance body would be a good way to handle that moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was also some discussion in the listserv in the past couple of days about some other attributes as well. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's correct. I think it was about the location and the location vocabulary attribute.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Yeah, I'd been meaning to kind of suggest this as well, because as we're kind of moving to more archiving more non-oceanographic data sets, we'd been maintaining something like a CNAME stable out here, but we don't want to reference that anymore, and we would rather kind of tap into like a controlled vocabulary for locations, and this would definitely be an attribute that would be helpful to include along with the keywords and the keywords vocabulary. You could just have locations. Just extending along the existing platforms, instruments, and it'll be along the same lines, but a location keyword.
So, Sean, do you have a place in the wiki or a document somewhere that we could start managing these new suggestions?
I know that there's a future directions ACDD page. Let's see if I can find that. There we go. So I don't know if this would be the best page, or if we add something to the follow-on discussions. I think we could probably also keep it in the listserv right now, and then maybe distill that once conversation has died down some.
I think that keeping things in the listserv is difficult over time.
Right.
There used to be a notes page along with each documentation cluster meeting. Do you know where that is at right now? Maybe you could include all this information as a part of that.
Yeah, I think that previously the notes have gone on the main page. Kaylin would be able to tell you better what we've done to date with things, but getting this page updated and getting maybe a more user-friendly presentation of the information is definitely on my list of things that I would like to accomplish. Definitely before summer meeting. So yeah, there would be like a minutes page, and then that could get referenced in the section on the home page. But I was just suggesting leaving the conversation on the listserv so that it would be easier for people to participate in it, and then grab all of that information and put it onto a page for more of a long-term storage solution. But you know, I'm definitely open to any ideas.
I would say, Sean, that you should just follow through and say this is the way we're doing it, because we'll just follow your lead.
Yeah. All right. Well, if anyone would like to take ownership of the notes taking and posting, that is definitely one of the things that I'm not strong at. I'll say that right off the bat. Taking notes and updating the notes are not my strong suit, but you know, I think that it looks like in 2016 this method of taking minutes and then putting the minutes up on the wiki homepage seems to have worked. So I would just be content to continue on with that. Obviously, we need to get better at updating the new stuff. But maybe that should be, maybe we should identify someone who can take that responsibility on.
I don't think I can. Like, I'm almost volunteering myself, but I don't think I can, given the scope of other things. You know, maybe I could tag team it with somebody else, but
I think that you know, this might be wishful thinking on my part, but I do believe that you know, Kaylin had put that as one of her action items, but
okay.
maybe she and I can sit down with you because I think that we may have had some disconnect on the mechanics of things in Wikiland. So
Yeah,
that might be our only stopping point.
I would be happy to show you what I did to help manage these notes and working with wikis, if that could be helpful.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll set up a meeting with you offline.
Okay. Because I feel like as the co-chairs, that's your and Kalen's responsibilities to manage that.
Yeah, okay.
And that's one of the reasons why I stepped down, is because I didn't have time to manage it. So.
Yeah.
But I'd be happy to show you what I was doing and how I was doing it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
So yes, we can get the notes up on the events section of the homepage. So that'll provide a good place for people to get what happened in that meeting. But I think that proposing these new attributes might warrant its own page. So maybe we could get that page up with the global attributes and the name and the description of what we're proposing, and then try and organize something with some of the stakeholders and decision makers and see if we can push some of that forward.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I can take a few minutes and create that page after the meeting. What were our names and descriptions? Maybe I can.
Do you mean for the projected grid data?
X resolution, Y resolution, X.
Yeah, I think it was geospatial underscore X underscore min and geospatial underscore X underscore max.
Should it be geospatial? Because I can think of use cases where we have space weather data where there's resolution, but it's
oh well, I don't know, Anna, because for now I think CF kind of deals with
geospatial.
Just, right. So I don't know if
okay.
we're getting into like
all inclusive for all data types.
I would recommend using geospatial Xmin, Xmax, X resolution, Ymin, Ymax, Y resolution.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Because we're not narrowing it down to geospatial, but it's most likely that it is geospatial.
Right. If this kind of evolves into like a non-geospatial or Earth-centric data, then I think with regards to everything else as well, we kind of the locations and all the other stuff. It's just Earth-centric, I think so.
Okay. Unfortunately, I also have to leave this meeting early. I'm sorry, Sean. I look forward to keeping in track of this conversation. And do let me know, Sean, if you would like to get any advice on managing the wikis and the minutes. All right. Sorry for leaving early. Thanks.
Sounds good. See you later,
Bye.
Anna.
Bye.
Hey, Sean, it would be geospatial underscore X underscore min.
And then Y for this?
No, X underscore max, and the same thing for Y as well.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Right. And we have also X underscore resolution and the Y underscore resolution.
You said X underscore resolution?
No, the same thing, geospatial underscore X underscore resolution. So you're looking at 3 different attributes for the X and 3 for the Y.
Gotcha.
Geospatial, right. And Y underscore resolution, right.
Okay. And then also what was the location?
Yeah, I believe the proposal was to have like a location and a location underscore keyword.
So location and location keyword?
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And all of these were global attributes, right?
Right, that's correct.
So this is Heather. I have a question. You guys hear me?
Sure. Yep.
Yep.
So with the question that Mary Jo brought up, how do we represent multiple resolutions? Given the suggestion you gave, would it be a comma separated list or just?
I believe
I'm trying to
she
wrap
said
my
it
head
could.
around that.
I believe she said it could either be one of the three, based on her email.
Yeah, projected onto one of three possible projections.
So it's either going to be 25, 12.5, 6.25, or 3.125.
So then there's not a potential where there would be multiple for one record or for one file.
Well, I hope not, because so we're looking at like this is extending just the regular grid sort of the existing convention for the regular grid, except that it's not represented in terms of latitude and longitude, but just x and y coordinates.
Okay.
So for varying x and y, I don't think you can use this at all. Kind of similar to your SWOT data.
So maybe we should get some descriptions of these as well. I mean, I know that they probably look fairly self-descriptive, but any additional information that we can provide, and I can try and grab a reasoning out of the email or something, but
I'm trying to look at the description and for
This is Heather. I think that's something we can hash out through the listserv a little bit, and maybe at the next meeting propose an actual definition. Didn't we have other variables to go over today or clarify for somebody? Or did you want to keep that in the listserv as well?
I think that was the location keyword attributes. I could be wrong on that though. Were there any others in the listserv that I had missed?
I might be mixing up groups. Hold on.
I believe these were the only two items on the agenda.
Is this the group for the acknowledgement versus acknowledgement and different spelling?
Yeah, that was on the list too.
Okay.
But that was
believe
just a
though,
change in spelling between the UCDD or something like that and ACDD?
Yeah, UDDC.
UDDC.
But my understanding is that there's this IU's compliance checker that's been developed right now, and it checks for both the spellings, and it accepts either one of those.
No, okay. Okay. Well, if we don't have anything else on the agenda, we might as well leave early, get a walk in before lunch ends. I will put up the new page. I believe there was a posting in the chat about a place on the Commons where you could include notes. Feel free to update the page that I will create and link to from the events section of the homepage shortly. If you also put these new global attributes out on the listserv to see if we can get some good descriptions going, and maybe grab something from some of the emails that started the conversations about why they're needed, and then we can package that up during the next meeting and send it off to the stakeholders and see if we can affect some positive change as an outcome. So if no one has anything else that they'd like to talk about
Sean,
today.
sorry,
Yeah.
Heather.
Hey, Heather.
Sorry. I found my email. I thought I was having the case of the Mondays, but no. John Graybell sent an email out 3 days ago from Dale Robinson asking a bunch of questions about ACD and how to use the attributes. So we don't have time now, but I mean, we can all take a look at that. He's kind of pushing towards some CF conventions to understand it, but a lot of these were contributor names, publishers, basically how to deal with when you have something that you're taking from a provider and you're changing it. That question on how they're changing it is uncertain in the email, but are they the creator, or is there people that they got the data from the creator? And this was never really clarified when we went through ACDD 1.3. It was discussed, but I don't think we clarified it in our definitions. So it'd be good if people could reply to John Graybell's email from January 20th.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some more work that needs to be done in that area.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I will add that onto the minutes and see if we can figure out if there are any attributes that we could propose for that as well.
Well, it's not even proposing attributes, it's clarifying our existing ones.
Oh, yeah, well, that's probably even better.
Yeah, at least a use case kind of information.
Oh, okay. So then that's even potential stuff that we could affect in 1.3?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We wouldn't have to go through a big whole change. It would just be clarifying our existing definitions.
Okay. Well, that sounds like something that could possibly get resolved quicker then.
Yeah, so if just people just take a check at the email, and you can even reply to John if you don't feel comfortable replying to everybody. So I think he's just asking for help.
Well, hopefully he's come to the right place.
Oh, Sean?
Yes.
Hello? Hi, Sean, and everyone. This is Bruce. I put up a little comment in the chat. We are experimenting with offering clusters their own channel in our Slack team as an alternative to running the email threads. What we found out was that the more you use the listserv, the less valuable it gets, and people get they get every email and they have to pay attention or not and figure it out. Well, Slack lets you pretty well monitor how much you want to pay attention to a conversation, and to offer side private conversations if that solves someone's problem. Like if it solves John's problem, you can just create a side conversation with John. Is that something you would be interested in trying out?
Well, I'm always interested in trying out the new stuff. You can ask Dan Keys about that. I know that people have used the listserv for a long time, so they might just be used to it.
Bruce, would we have to create another sign in for Slack, or how does this work?
Yeah, you get an invitation to join it, and then you'd be invited to the channel. And then you could, if you wanted to pay attention to other channels, you can just go on to Slack and look at, if you're a member of 3 or 4 clusters, you can keep track of them. And you will not get a notification unless someone mentions you by name or sends out an announcement to the entire channel, which would be like sending an email to the listserv. As a total listserv. So, and that's something we'll encourage people to do, fewer times than more times. So it's fully searchable. That's one of the nice things about it. You can search your channel for any word at any time. And if you have Google Docs that you put in the channel, the Google Docs themselves are searchable in the channel, which is pretty nice too. So I think if we have good experiences, we would try to wean more and more of the collaboration groups onto Slack and away from the listservs. I think it's a easier, less noisy, more productive place to be. So just give it some thought, and you guys can let us know what if you want us to do that.
Bruce, do you know if Slack gives you the ability to, push conversations out or contact everyone who's a member of the channel?
Yeah, it's you just put the @channel. You say @channel, and then you send your message, and it goes to everyone in the channel.
Okay. I'm just thinking for some of the people who might not be, as active on the Slack app, but would be, interested in maybe getting that digest version still, just to kind of bridge between all of our users' needs.
Well, we can also attach so the listserv would become a little bit vestigial.
Yeah.
But, we can we can keep supporting it, and that all of the listserv mails would go into Slack, but you wouldn't be sending stuff from Slack to the listserv unless you, did a separate email out. I think the idea is that the future involves no email at all at some point. There is the idea of the emailless office down the road. At some point, the listserv would disappear. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is AJ. I was just saying I'd definitely be interested in trying it, but just wanted to know if there's any mention of this at the recently concluded meeting, so that more people are aware about it.
Well, we can push it through the listserv too, and get some. It wouldn't be right away. It would be sometime between now and the summer meeting.
Okay, so this is a newer idea, not necessarily something that you were thinking about rolling out when we were in Bethesda?
No.
Okay.
No, but I think we're just starting to get people to think about it, and we don't want it to double up, so you have to look at 2 different places, but there could be some overlap for a while. And,
yeah, I'm just thinking, the Slack channels that I've participated in can get, I think, a little bit more activity, gives people a lower bar than writing out an email to share their ideas. But then, I know that there are some people who, looking at their instant messaging is like the last thing on their mind, and for those people, it would probably be beneficial to give them an email.
Right.
But yeah, I think that would be would be interested in trying it out for sure.
Well, let's, you can put that as a conversation in your next time you send out the listserv, and we won't do anything until we get sort of a general positive response.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Okay, so do you have any more details than you just shared with us about the Slack channel, or are you gonna take on emailing the list about it?
Well, you're going to send out a notice for the next call, right?
Right.
And I'll send you something that you can put in that notice.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks, Bruce.
Yeah.
Thank you, anyone. Any closing remarks from anyone else?
None here.
All right. Thanks a lot for joining us today, everyone. And I will be contacting you in the near future about next month's telecon, and also trying to generate some movement on these new global attributes that we're thinking about. All right. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Sean. Adios.